Hello, Zoom.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, audio check. Can people in Zoom land hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for replying. Well, we could read off who's on Zoom.
I have Carolyn Bowers, Jesse Stroop, Ann Esch, Ian Horton, and Pat Hill.
Okay. We'll go ahead and then move on to item number 2. And I do have something I'd like to shift on this. I'd like to put item 7B after item 5B. You know, we're gonna potentially look at spending more money. I thought it'd be good to have the budget ahead of that potential spending.
What's that?
And if you're okay with that, I'd accept the motion on the agenda. Yeah, item 5. So we'd have a 5A public hearing of the ordinance for the building code and then child abuse prevention month. And then have the budget. And then go into the advice memos and everything else.
Yeah, I would motion to move the budget report to business item, let's see, 5C.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. We move the budget report to actually item 5C. Down all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried. And then we'll go ahead and move on to item 3, our consent agenda, which is our meeting minutes. Do you have any questions, comments on the minutes?
No.
If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda for March 7th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the consent agenda, which is basically meeting minutes from March 7th, 2023. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. We need another mic. Number 9. Test. Are you hearing? Richard. This one's not gonna, this one's number 10. Switch it out with something else. 9 and 10 are on the same mic. Yeah, 5 should work. Test. Okay. Much better. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, that threw me for a loop. Did we vote on the minutes? We did, right? We all said aye. That's good. Okay. The microphone thing threw me for a loop. Sorry about that. Okay, at this point, we'd go into public input. We got we'll limit it to 3 minutes per speaker. You might, I'm not hearing. You're okay, okay. Do we have anyone that would like to speak?
Any public input from Zoom?
Okay, anyone in the audience? Well, this may be a quick one tonight. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our new business. And our first item is item 5A, public hearing and final adoption, ordinance 2023-01, the building code. And this is a second reading. And hopefully I got enough wind to read through all of this, and I'm just going to read sections 1 and 2. Okay, Town of Green Mountain Falls, ordinance number 2023-01. An ordinance amending chapter 18 of the Green Mountain Falls Municipal Code to adopt by reference the 2023 edition of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code. Whereas the town previously adopted the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code 2017 edition as amended by reference and according to Title 31, Article 16, Part 2 of the Colorado Revised Statutes as amended. Whereas the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code 2023 edition is a revision of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code 2017 edition as amended and amended version thereof. And whereas the Board of Trustees deems it necessary to update and revise chapter 18 of the Green Mountain Falls Municipal Code to adopt the newest edition of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Trustees of the Town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado. Section 1, Section 18-1 of the Town of Green Mountain Falls Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 18-1, adoption by reference pursuant to Title 31, Article 16, Part 2, CRS, the 2023 edition of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code, together with Appendix A and Appendix B, as published by Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, is adopted by reference as a primary code, including all secondary codes referred to therein, hereinafter collectively referred to as the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code. Regional Building Code, this code, or RBC, and are hereby enacted as the building code of the town for use to regulate building construction activities within the town. Section 2, Section 18-2 of the Town of Green Mountain Falls Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 18-2, permit fees. Section RBC 108.2, schedule of permit fees of the building code is amended and modified by adding the following to read. The Board of Trustees establishes Appendix B, building permit fee scheduling of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code as the adopted fee schedule. And then that's all of section 1 and 2. Trustees, we do have a representative here. Did you have any additional questions? And if not, I'd entertain a motion.
I do have 2 corrections. Is this the right time for
Yeah.
that?
Mhm.
Page 9, paragraph S, re-inspection. There is an I missing. Please insert that.
Okay, say that again, page 9.
Page 9, paragraph S, re-inspection. The I is missing. And page 10, published in the Pike Peaks Courier. If you could please correct that to Pikes Peak Courier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion and get a drink of water.
Yeah, I would motion to approve ordinance number 2023-01.
I'll second that
It's been-
with the corrections.
Yeah, Yeah, as modified.
as modified, ma'am.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance number 2023-01 as modified. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Oh, John, would you like to say something? Yeah. Please state your name and
Thank you, Mayor Dixon. John Welton with the Regional Building Department. Trustees, on behalf of the Regional Building Department, we would like to thank you for getting this done as timely as you did. We know that we do have a looming deadline over us to get this implemented so that we don't have numerous other requirements that we were able to miss if we get this done. So on behalf of the Building Department, thank you very much.
and John, thanks for coming out tonight.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Y'all have a good rest of the evening.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that, we'll move on to item number 5B, Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I have another proclamation here. And would you like to speak? Come on up to the mic. Yeah, yeah, go ahead and come on up. Yeah. Yeah,
Good evening. I'm Christina Iodice. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Department of Human Services in El Paso County. And thank you so much for reading this proclamation and just reminding everyone that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, but the business and the work of preventing child abuse and neglect really never stops. It's something that goes on every day, every hour. And it really does take a community and a region to protect the youngest and the most vulnerable. And 2019, we saw more than 25,000 hotline calls. And last year we saw a total of 21,432 hotline calls. Now, those are calls for child abuse concerns, neglect concerns, or people who are just worried about what a family might be struggling with. El Paso County historically is one of the few counties in the state where the number of mandatory reporters and the number of non-mandatory reporters are pretty much even. In most counties, there's a lot more reports coming from mandatory reporters like teachers, coaches, doctors. And that really just goes to show how much our region cares about children and families. So anyone who has a concern about a family who's struggling or, potential child abuse and neglect, you don't need to know what child abuse or neglect is. Just any information can help the Department of Human Services really help a family. And as of about 5-10 years ago, we really started approaching child protection with family first. And that means that we look at ways to support and strengthen a family to protect children. We're not just swooping in there and removing children. That's what we want to do the least. And it's the last resort. The reporting hotline is 1-844-CO4-KIDS. And if you have any questions, let me know. I also brought pinwheels that I'll leave that you can take home, you can plant in your gardens. And this is really just the symbolizing the happy, carefree childhoods we want for all children. We did not do pins this year. There are supply chain issues.
Okay, Christina, thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? If not, the proclamation that's actually in the package, I had to modify a little bit because it's the one that's in the package is generic. So if we're ready to read this, I'll go ahead and read it. A proclamation recognizing Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas finding solutions for child abuse and neglect, a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, requires input and action from everyone because the well-being of our children today will shape the future of Colorado and our community. And whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse and neglect. And whereas all parents and caregivers need to support sometimes and supporting all children and families early is far less costly to society and individuals than healing from trauma. And whereas community leaders, policymakers, and elected officials play a unique role in building a community for kids by understanding the programs and policies that support child maltreatment prevention, listening to parents' needs, and examining community planning through this lens to build healthy communities. And whereas effective prevention efforts succeed because of partnerships created among human service agencies, public health, the district attorney's office, schools, faith, and civic organizations, the medical community, law enforcement, and first responder agencies, the business community, nonprofits, and concerned citizens. And whereas everyone plays a role in preventing child abuse and neglect, helping to build thriving communities so that families and children may also thrive. Now therefore, the Green Mountain Falls Board of Trustees hereby proclaims April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado. No matter where you live, everyone has the power to contribute towards a brighter tomorrow for all children. Done this 4th day of April 2023 at Green Mountain Falls, Colorado. And if that's acceptable, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we approve.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the proclamation recognizing Child Abuse Prevention Month as modified from our package. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Christina. Okay. With that, we are gonna now move up our budget reports and some of our new business as some budgetary items. I thought we'd go through this first. And this is our first attempt at a quarterly budget, and go ahead to the next page.
So I kept this as a, general overview. These numbers are as of March 29th, so just a couple days shy of the first quarter. Beginning budget is our approved budget from October of 2022 that this board passed. Total revenue. So we have a lot of uncollected revenue as of this point. And we also have some items that need to be reconciled back to 2022. And so we have the general fund here, capital improvement fund, and our third fund is the conservation trust fund. I can go back to any of these that you like. Our overview of the bank balance is here. That includes these funds above, so.
And if you would go back to capital improvement real quick, there's a little clarification point. The monies in the last slide, the roughly 150K carryover don't show up in our accounting software as revenues. That's why they're not showing up here. But so board, one of the questions I have, is this the type of information you're looking for? Since it's our first attempt.
I think it's pretty good for a first attempt. There'll probably be some things in the future that maybe we want to add to it, but at this time, I don't know what. It looked good to me.
I guess I was just looking more up for just a simple report from the software program. I know you put a lot of effort into this.
More like a balance sheet, like an overall balance sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a whole quarter to work on that.
Like expenses in terms of public works,
Right.
anything.
Yeah, just anything that the program can create,
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the output. It
so we can
create
see
a
the
lot.
detail.
It'll
there
give
is
you as much
expense.
detail as you want.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can get into it,
Okay,
and we can discuss that in detail, so.
thank you, Bo.
And Any other trustee questions, comments? And there's really nothing to reprove here. This is just a report, so. I did see a question in the audience, but we don't have public speaking, so sorry about that. See me afterwards, if you would. Okay, so our next item up is item 5C, the PRT advice memo on the RREO grant request. And do we have someone from PRT that's Jesse's online? Talk through it. I was gonna get to it here.
Jesse, would you like to discuss this topic?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so as the advice memo states, Town of Green Mountain Falls is eligible for a RREO grant from $10,000 to $30,000. And the PRT would like to apply for these funds to complete the dumpster blind and be able to add the recycling component to that. And I'll let the memo stand and answer any questions.
Trustees, questions, comments? Jesse, it might be good to maybe just go into a little brief description on what's envisioned, maybe?
So when you all approved the dumpster blind project, that was we looked at the sort of the 5-star best build it best component for that. What was not included in that was the actual recycling side of the dumpster blind. We knew that we would have the opportunity to apply for these additional dollars later. So the dumpster blind request was for the actual dumpsters and that service. By applying for this grant, we'd be able to add the concrete pad for the recycling area and the recycling dumpster. There were also a few things that that were stretched dollar wise on the original dumpster blind, which was some exterior lighting. So we wanted to be able to finish that project with these dollars.
Okay, so it changes the footprint just a little bit for the recycling materials, correct?
It doesn't change the footprint of the dumpster blind. It just allows us to insert a concrete pad in there for the, we built it with this in mind, or we planned it with this in mind.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions, comments? And Jesse, I think it's good to maybe reiterate that this is a no match. If there's funds that we receive, we'd have to pay it up front, but then we'd get reimbursed for the whole thing, correct?
That's correct.
And if there's no other questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I just want to clarify, who would be writing the grant? Would this be our town manager writing the grant?
Yeah, the PRT would start the grant application with the help of the town manager to get it fully submitted.
And Becky's aware of this and the timeline and all that.
Yes, in fact, she found this and it was part of the plan. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, how it reads. I just wanted to make sure everything was gonna fit in the calendar. So thank you.
This over.
questions, I mean, I would motion to approve the project as planned by PRT.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the request to go after the grant and the amounts as stated in the request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
I'll
opposed?
abstain.
Okay, so 3 ayes, 1 abstention. So that motion will carry. The next two, these are special event permits. And I wanted to put these in front of the board because our latest land use code has temporary use permits as being a decision from the staff. And I double checked. And right now, the only thing that would have to come in front of us for our current other municipal code are anything involving alcohol. And so this one, these do not involve alcohol. And so technically, we could have them approved by staff. And that's why I wanted to put these in front of you. If it's okay, if we're okay with that, we can just delegate this to the staff. I don't even know if we even need a motion if we're all
Right.
in agreement.
I agree with that. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay. So yeah, so Bo, you'll be getting both of those. So that would put us at what was originally item 5F, National Flood Insurance Visit. And I think the things to highlight of this, there were a couple recommendations. It actually went pretty well. They came up, we met with them, drove them around town. And yeah, I was very pleased with it and they seemed to be fairly happy as well. But I think there's a couple recommendations, Bo, if you could. They're kind of embedded in it. Unfortunately, we didn't put together memos. And that's something we need to do in the future for board packets. Yeah, the recommendations are up, or one is provide a link to the effective PPR floodplain development code via the town of Green Mountain Falls official website in order to better inform the residents. And then the other one is reference the PPR floodplain development code in Article 4.6 or L
Aye.
of the community land of our land use code. Those were recommendations. And we probably ought to have an action on the recommendations. I don't think there's any other recommendations, are there? Okay. So yeah, and what this does, it basically helps set the insurance rates for those that have properties in the floodplain. So they come in, they audit us, they look at our codes and whatnot. We actually did a tour of the actual Fountain Creek and Crystal Creek, going through town, looked at the various things we've been doing and potential things we could do. And like I said, they seem to be fairly happy. We completed all their open items we had for us. So
Yeah, looking at it earlier, I was trying to find if there was anything that could negatively affect or impact any of the people living like within the floodplain. Is there anything that sticks out to you that
you know,
help?
there's always things that we can do. You know, it's just trying to put together the funding for them. You know, some of the things that we may want to consider in the future are you know, different ways to handle some of the decomposed granite runoff that's getting into like Crystal Creek. So,
Did they have any discussion on how agreeing to any of this would affect rates?
No, they didn't get into specific rates with us. This was just an auditor for the people who are doing the flood insurance.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, we're not there. There's a couple recommendations and we may need action on the 2 recommendations that are in that. Again, Bo's got those up on the screen now. Basically updating our website and then adding in a one-liner into the land use code at some point.
Is there a timeline as to when we?
They
need
did
to-
they did not put a timeline on it.
And what's their relationship directly with FEMA, like? Is it-
This is an
seems to be-
auditor that does a report to the FEMA, is my understanding of it.
Well, it doesn't look like there's really much of a dollar amount and attached to these recommendations.
No, they're really, I mean, rewriting land use code, there's always a dollar amount tied to that, but the
Mhm.
website. No, it's just basically Bo's time.
Seemed like it was kind of vague, like on any negative impact as. Again, as it may pertain to property owners, particular standards that would have to change. Was there any?
They didn't let us
anything-
know, they didn't let us know of any negative impacts. When anyone builds the way we're set up, especially with Pikes Peak Regional Building, it flags it in Pikes Peak Regional Building, and then they
and they have
pull
their
out,
standards.
they pull out the standards. I should say, Pikes Peak Regional Building did have a representative here for the meeting.
um, As far as any rewrites or,
It'd just be that one Article 4.6I of the land use code. It's basically adding a reference.
is this something that the planning commission is, do they get eyes on any of this stuff or?
Anything that would go through a rewrite land use code, I would think would want to run the planning commission.
I don't know how you want to handle this. Do you want to see if they can look at this, check out the verbiage and what they would add to? any
What
code?
I would suggest is a motion to accept the recommendations and move forward with them.
And just get them involved in the rewrite?
A question.
Yeah.
Did you refer to Crystal Creek?
I probably, that it's Catamount.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's Catamount. It's been a long 10 days here.
So we're motioning on,
That's what I would.
Those items
recommend.
1 and 2?
Yeah, accept the recommendations and move forward. Or I can make that as the motion and someone can second it. Okay, so I move that the board accept the recommendations as provided in this letter and move forward with them.
I'll second them.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the recommendations and move forward with recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, the next items, we've had the stuff with the staging, and originally we did not get all of the planning commission recommendations into the where we actually tabled this resolution. So the resolution was tabled last meeting. The action was to write a policy. And with what's happened with Becky, that policy obviously isn't done yet. I'm anticipating that it's probably going to say something along the lines of down at Green Mountain Falls will not use one place exclusively. That's what
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
well, I mean, having, looked at this resolution again, I mean, I may entertain, I don't know how the rest of the board feels about just going for this resolution. A policy that just states, we may basically still use the area. That's kind of what it's sounds like, at least.
Yeah.
It's not really getting a commitment out of.
No, and
board.
we did confer with legal counsel, and the bottom line is, as long as we're allowing traffic, we can use right of ways any way we see fit.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, but so that's a question to the board. we can package these all together until the policy comes out, basically table it. We can go through each one.
I think we should probably prepare this resolution with the date for next meeting and a policy. And when we have our full board here, talk about it and either decide on the policy or the resolution. Personally, I think the resolution is, I do like this resolution from, where I'm sitting. I mean,
Yep.
we kind of made a promise to those folks down there. So, depending what the policy says, we probably won't see it until the Friday before the next meeting. We should have this other option still there.
Okay, there are other recommendations that came from planning commission. Are you suggesting that we might want to table them all until we get the full package?
Like I know Oak Street, there may be an issue, of course, with the bridge. There's definitely going to be an issue. I mean, it is, recognized as a multi-use area, but after the dumpster blinds go up, and you have, traffic for the post office and storage back there, at the end of the day, it's just not going to be able to be utilized for, maybe a pot for a plant. I mean, there's not going to be any.
It's a
room back
small
there.
area to
Yeah.
begin with.
There's just not gonna, I recognize that it's a multi-use area, obviously, but it's after that stuff is there, it's just, we can't put 20, 30-foot culverts and, it's realistically never gonna probably be utilized for any of those types of services, for staging.
Okay, so I'm going to pull you back in and try to get to a focus point of, do we want to table all of these or do we want to go through individual? I'm kind of thinking, personal opinion, we table them all until we get the policy and we can look at the whole package.
Yeah, when we're an entire board, I think that, I think that would be a good idea. I do think we should have that policy drafted. Check out what the verbiage is, but we should have that resolution there too, as, two choices to kind of really go with.
Okay.
That's my recommendation at least.
Yeah, is someone willing to make the motion to table?
Yeah, I'm gonna motion to table that.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, but we table item 5G until the next meeting when we have our policy written.
And the resolution as a possible.
Yeah,
second.
we basically move the whole package to the next meeting. Okay, our next item up is what was originally item 5H, the Blue Moose liquor license renewal application. And Bo and I did learn some interesting things on this today as well. Bo, do you want to describe maybe what Judy had talked to you about?
Yeah, so in our municipal code, all liquor licensing is to be reviewed by the board, but this is not a hearing, it's a renewal. So it would be really an administrative, that's probably not the right word, but an administrative approval from you. She did recommend, my consultant from ProGov, to have you guys give staff permission to just pass these renewals administratively. So if there's not going to be a hearing, if it's not a new license, we do have that option in the future.
That would take a change to our code though, right?
It would.
Okay. So yeah, that's something we might also want to consider is license renewals like this, making them administrative.
Yeah, so we could vote on it now and then maybe move later
Yeah,
to
well,
change it because it's not in the code.
Yeah,
It's gotta
the-
be in the-
The action now is basically all we can do is just say, Bo, did we get everything? Is it all signed? Did we get the fee? And if that's the case, it's pretty much automatic that at that point for a renewal.
I agree, and that is the case. The owner of the Blue Moose is here, Catherine Gidry. Thanks for
Okay.
coming in. She was great. She came in earlier and we actually filled this in and I have checks right here. And signatures. So pending your approval, this is good to go.
So yeah, I would think we got a whole slew of code updates that we need to make. And so this would just be another one we'd roll in with whenever we bring forth a bunch of code updates.
But for now, I guess we'll make a
Yeah.
motion to approve the liquor license for the Blue Moose.
Do I have a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the liquor license for Blue Moose. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And that moves us on to item 5, what was originally 5I, the PRT advice memo regarding the Green Mountain Falls pool. And do we have someone that would like to speak on that?
My name's Don Walker. I live at 10855 Belvedere Avenue. I'm here tonight representing the PRT and to report on the swimming pool project. I think I'll try putting my glasses on so I can read. So basically, as you know, you've already tasked us to do a study on the practicality and the economics on opening up the swimming pool for the season. So we got together, we came up with some cost option plans for us. And so we understand that this is just a stopgap measure to get the swimming pool open for the 2023 season, because we all consider the pool a valuable asset to our community and an important public service to our residents. And that we believe that if any one of these cost option plans are adopted by the board, that it can be a foundation to launch a better funded, better staffed, and have more time to recruit volunteers for the pool operations in the years to come. So let me draw your attention to the 3-star plan, which is our preference. The 3-star plan has 3 days of operation: Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. That's 42 days of operations over 14 weeks from June 2nd to September 3rd. We've sectioned 2 different swim times: 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon for family swim time, primarily children, and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sectioned off for adult swim time. We're asking the board to approve hiring of 2 employees, or 2 types of employees, certified lifeguards and a pool coordinator. We are also anticipating volunteers to help us in this operation. We've sectioned 126 time slots, 2 hours apiece for a front desk clerk. We estimated an operating budget for the pool operations. You can see that the lifeguard wages for the season would be $6,300. Pool coordinator wages would be $2,100. And adding the cost of water, natural gas, electricity, pool chemicals, septic system, equipment repairs, facility repairs, supplies, and miscellaneous would come to a grand total of $15,000. We have also anticipated and projected revenues for this operation. While we're calling for the residents of Green Mountain Falls to swim free, we are going to market donations. We all feel that if there's no fee that's charged to use the pool, that the donation, requesting donations and marketing donations could well generate more revenue for the pool operation than the fees. Last year, as you can see, we booked $3,100 in pool fees. I'm projecting that we can raise $4,000 in donations during the season. And also we want to market the VRBOs to purchase pool passes. Because I understand that you can get a increase in your rating if you have access to a swimming pool. So I think that's a good marketing ploy. I'm projecting that we could easily get $1,000 in those pre-purchased pool passes, which would give us a grand total of $5,000 for the revenues for the season. And if that were the case, then it would only cost $10,000 outlay out of the general fund. We've also begun a number of descriptions for the operation as we move forward. And delineating the pool administration, the responsibilities of the pool coordinator, responsibilities of the lifeguards, the responsibilities of the front desk clerk, and ultimately generating a administrative guidebook for those positions. We're also calling out the responsibilities for the actual pool operation. Primary responsibility will fall to the Public Works, while the pool coordinator will be tasked with some elementary duties such as testing the water and that sort of thing. Let's see. Just a special note about the cost of the water for the pool. Last year, we had the impression that we would get the water free since the water well that we have used in the past to fill the pool has collapsed. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And so there was a charge book for $2,700 to fill the pool. So if that being the case for this year, we would definitely recommend that we fix our well as soon as possible.
Okay, question, that's not part of option, this 3-star, correct? That's just a separate recommendation.
It's just a separate
Okay.
recommendation.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
thank you.
I mean, we're just planning on, filling it up with, the public water or the Colorado Springs Utilities water this year. Because we really don't have time to do anything else. Is there any questions that I could answer?
Just to clarify, so the pool will be free for residents?
Yes, ma'am.
So how will you know who's a resident?
Well, we have a front desk clerk and
Uh-huh.
she'll be trained to identify everybody that comes in to swim, checks everybody in, checks everybody out,
Mhm.
make sure the children if they are under 12 or under, have guardians. And she'll also be tasked along with the pool coordinator to encourage donations.
So will it be free for everyone?
Not as it's written. I mean, this is we encourage donations for anybody else other than Green Mountain Falls residents.
Okay,
That's how it's stated.
okay, because I know it can just be sticky to try to figure out who's a resident, like proving residency can be
It's
an
gonna,
issue.
I mean, if I have anything to say about it, it would just be fully based on an honor system,
Uh-huh,
because this is not like the security
right.
that you're checking in. And I think, knowing the nature of our residents, that most everybody operates on a honor system anyway. So, if we'll also have, the proper signage up so people won't get caught off guard.
Yeah, I think that the QRF code was in here too, and I think that's pretty brilliant, so they can make donations.
Yeah, I think if it's, on a donation basis for everybody, then you don't really have to go through any of that, residency checking or
Oh,
whatever.
no, but
Right.
it's part of the conversation. Oh, hello, how
Uh-huh.
are you? I haven't seen you before. Oh, we're visiting from Oklahoma, yada, yada. Well, I'm glad you're here. Would you like to make a donation to our Green Mountain Falls Pool Fund?
Mhm.
Or we could
That's
even
how-
just,
Which would be QRF based, like, they would.
Yeah, we want to,
PayPal.
we want all the funds generated to be done electronically. And we specifically
Okay.
stated that there wouldn't be any cash that's handled by the front desk or
I
anybody
see.
else.
and if you didn't want to do that, we could also laminate some cheap passes.
Yeah, I'm sure VRBO folks will probably have something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's in the proposal is that the VRBOs get a pass, they pay for a pass.
Yes.
Question about pool parking. The
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought
redesignation,
that up. Yes.
To the new parking area on Ute Avenue. Where is Ute Avenue?
That's the blacktop.
You mean Ute Pass Avenue?
I beg your
Okay.
pardon, you
All right.
Pass Avenue.
All right, I wasn't familiar with Ute Avenue.
So UPass Avenue would be utilized and the current pool parking lot would be for handicap
And emergency vehicles.
and emergency vehicles
And drop off,
and drop off. That's
Yeah.
right. It was going to kind of be slightly modified so they could just kind of loop around.
right.
Okay.
I mean, it's not much bigger.
Yeah.
That's the best utilization,
Right.
best utilization of that space that we could come up with. So.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think you guys did, you did a really good job and I mean, it's a bit of the solution we were looking for. Yeah, I'm tracking, but Don, you did a really good job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You and PRT, we got to give the honorable mention, of course, to your organization.
Is
but it's,
that my cue to sit down now?
it was really outstanding. Yes, I think that's what
Don,
we were looking for.
I also have the two other options, the 2-star and the 1-star. If you want to highlight those, I can bring them up.
I'd be glad to. The 2-star option is basically 2 days of operation. It's just the same as the 3-star, except it's operating with less wages. There's 1 day, 42 days or 14 days less of labor for lifeguards and pool coordinator. And then if you want to, and I've highlighted all of the changes from the 3-star program in yellow on the 2-star. And then if you go down to the bottom line, we're at $12,200 in operating costs outside of revenues as opposed to 15,000. So if you want to look at the 1-star, that's 1 day of operation. The times of operations have been reduced as well. We've eliminated the adult swim time. And we've also eliminated the wages of the pool coordinator. Since it's just 1 day a week for 2 or 4 hours, we believe that it could probably be handled by staff. The pool coordination could be handled by the town staff. We're looking at a total expenditure for the season of $8,000 as opposed to 15,000, so less than half. With no revenues projected there.
And just a couple FYIs, Public Works did handle all the pool chemicals
Mhm.
this past year. And they were, they did fine with it. Interesting item on the water, evidently by using city water, it's much more easier on our filtration systems, which was what I've been told. So-
The turbidity that's reported in the well can be handled by the sand filters that our pool system has.
Okay,
I think the pH of that well water would be more advantageous than the chlorinated city water.
Okay.
Just
Thank
so
you for
everybody's
that
tracking, Don
clarification.
is an engineer and it's pretty high speed, so. Yeah, even know a thing about turbidity, I guess, but. It's outstanding. That's a really
I
good plan.
punched a hole or two as well. I can look, if we have a well log on that water well, which who knows if we do, but I'd be glad to look at it and advise the town manager on it.
That'd be great.
So to clarify, this is just a recommendation for this season
Yes,
and do I remember correctly that there's going to be a study done by, is it CSU?
Right, CSU's doing the big study that's more encompassing than just trying to get it open and running.
Marketing, ADA.
Marketing and all the whole
ADA
whole
stuff,
nine
yeah.
yards.
So this is a plan so that we can have
Get it
the
going.
pool open
Yeah.
this season for at least a few days a week.
Yeah,
yes, as I said on the cover page, it's a stopgap measure.
Yeah.
And anything you guys approve today, we can build upon in the years to come by just having time to get grant money for capital improvements on the pool, to get it better staffed, to generate more volunteers, because, we've just circulated at one time our volunteer requests, and we've got good, 12, 13 solid volunteers already. And I think as we move forward to that opening time, once we get a commitment from the BOT, then people will be more ready to commit to a solid time and date for volunteering on the front desk.
Yeah, and I'm sure this will be part of the study, but I think there's a connection between the amount of funding that's put into a project and when the ADA requirements pop up. So that's an expense that we'll need to consider too.
And we can also book the labor in kind by the volunteers in
Mhm.
that effort too, which is a great deal.
Thank you.
I definitely like the 3-star idea. I think you guys start on May 2nd to prep the pool, and then it opens on my birthday, June 1st, for anybody out there that wants to have a beer with me that day. But I think it's June 1st is the plan to open it. The 2nd, okay. Can't make it the 1st, huh? All right, that's all right.
So there's also an operational calendar that I didn't go over, but it starts on May 1st. We don't want to wait till last, or the PRT feels like we shouldn't wait till last week to fill it up and make sure everything's
Right.
working. We
Mhm.
need to start that well in advance of when we have planned to have it open. That way, if there's a circulator pump or something that's out, we have time to find one, get it replaced and that sort of thing. You can understand.
I think that's great. I think there's an opportunity too for trail ambassadors perhaps to even have a discussion with some of the hikers. Oh, yeah. Well, no, not to volunteer to help out with the pool, but I'm talking about actual hikers, like, hey, there's a shower there. You can come down, shower and jump in the pool and cool off after hiking up to the Catamount. I don't know, just throwing it out there
Advertise
for
away.
revenue. Yeah. Try to get some donators. Same with parking. I love the QRF idea. Everything just being electronic, and if somebody wants to donate, if somebody wants to hike our trails, maybe they want to, where the parking is, the QRF code as well. I mean, could start something nice.
But are we gonna have to set up a separate account for a QRF
Yeah,
code
That's a different-
likely? Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Everybody utilizes PayPal. I think that's probably the friendliest out of all of them. And,
We have a policy that allows it, but
I would like to know about the 15,000 from the general fund. Where is that? Do we have extra money? Okay, so where would it come from?
was from what we've done so far from the reported budgeting, we've only got 17% of the revenues have come in right now. The budget itself was set obviously back in December. And that snapshot in time, we were probably a little on the high side with the general fund balance. Because right now we're hovering right around the 316 mark. So we were probably a little high. We have had that static is about ready to drive me crazy. Yeah, I don't know if folks on Zoom can hear that or not, but anyway, we will have to republish our budget based upon what's been happening with staffing. And so there are some changes there. Do I think we could absorb it? Yeah, I think we could probably absorb it. It would be, there's a risk that it would eat into our general fund balance. And there's always, there's always a risk that at that point, we're spending more than we're actually bringing in. Right now, until we'd actually get through our audit, which we've been going through the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you guys are working on that tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yeah, we got some audit things that are happening, but in other words, I don't know if we can give an honest, yeah, we got enough money without dipping into the general fund balance. I think we'd have, me going into it, I'm assuming we'll have to dip into the general fund balance.
Which would put us about $300,000 from 316. If this is accurate.
Well, again, the estimated revenues run around 750,000. And we were right about that point. And if our expenses are also come in lower, then yeah, obviously we can handle it. I think there's enough in the fund balance, my opinion, that we can handle it for this year. And, going through the budgeting exercise at the end of the year, then we can look at it and say, okay, did we actually overspend what we were bringing in? I think we've got enough pad there. We could probably handle both this one and the next one. So, but yeah, I'm going into it assuming we're going to eat into the general fund balance over and above what we're receiving for revenues.
Thank you.
So are we going to wait to take any action on this particular plan?
We
here?
can't, we really, in order to get the lifeguards set up, we need to probably decide tonight.
Yeah.
On if we're gonna go down the path.
I mean, I'd like to kind of pull the trigger on that and make a motion to accept this plan.
Which option?
I like the 3-star
Okay.
for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those hours of operation. And I think that's the one we should really go for to get the most bang for our buck. Again, last year's expenditure with the pool, with what we spent on it, we could have had 2 years with Don's plan, so.
Yep.
I think this is a step in the right direction for how we should be managing that pool. And if this balance is correct, I mean, that's going to put us at about, $300,000. But I guess we'll figure that out with this audit here that I believe they're working on with Brian. So
Yeah. Budgeting is trying to look at the finances as they come through, because it's not like we get so much money a month. We get a lump sum, maybe a quarter, and then we have other things that kind of dribble in. And so, yeah, you want a general fund balance. You want money in the bank to fund the operations, but trying to figure out exactly where we are.
Yeah.
It's just, you sit there and you look at the accounting software and it's like, okay, where are we really? And it's tough to tell because you don't have the revenue side of it, especially on a consistent basis.
well, but as of now, I think we should execute and it is an asset for the town, and I like the idea of it being open for the residences of Green Mountain Falls to go take a swim with their family on the weekends. I think it's a good step in the right direction. So I would make a motion to approve the 3-star plan for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 3-star plan presented by Parks, Rec and Trails Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Don,
Good-
thank you very much.
good
I know
job,
you did
Don.
a
Thank
lot
you.
of, put a
Awesome.
lot of work into that. Appreciate it. Okay, our next item that was originally 5J, the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee Forestry Grant. And John, are you going to be speaking of that? Okay.
I do have David Douglas online, yes.
David, do you want to address this or do you want me?
He may not be able to hear you, John. You got to use microphone.
David, are you going to address the?
Yeah, I'll be happy to, John. You can chime in, whenever I misstate something. Or if you feel like we need extra color. We just learned about this grant, which is something new that's been funded by the state of Colorado, the Colorado State Forestry Service. It's called Incentives for Local Government. It's a $9.5 million total funding for municipalities. And it's a fairly broad scope in terms of what you can apply for. I think the real focus was applying for actual mitigation. So you're going to mitigate so many acres at such a, at so many dollars per acre. But there was some latitude to do what was called capacity building, which meant that you could, in your municipality, could build your capacity with equipment, with training, and sort of build your capabilities within your community to do fire mitigation work. And it all falls within sort of the scope of our CWPP and the prescription of the Colorado State Forestry Service. So we decided to give this a shot. We being the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee in cooperation with Becky and Mayor Dixon over the last couple of weeks. We decided to pursue this grant. At first, we really thought about going for a new chipper, but we decided that we would go for money to repair our existing chipper because it needs new blades. It's I think got a flat tire. I think there's an overheat switch. But anyway, we felt like in talking to the maintenance people that we could refurbish our existing chipper, and those funds are included in this grant application, along with other tools like chainsaws, et cetera, that you typically use in mitigating fire fuels. Also in the grant, we have included a list of training that is offered. And we got this idea from attending a recent symposium done by a private fire mitigation group over near Florissant called No Flow Co., who have made a lot of inroads in terms of a totally volunteer group, and had been quite successful. And so we thought, taking a page out of their playbook, that it would be helpful for us to start building competence within our town by taking advantage of some of the training that's available through state agencies. So we sort of put all that together, the refurbishing the chipper, the training and other associated equipment to give us a competence level and really a capacity build within Green Mountain Falls to focus on the ability to promote neighbor helping neighbor, I guess is sort of the approach that we're taking here, combined with a town input. And the town input, of course, in this case would be getting the chipper refurbished and the labor that would go into running the chipper. So the term of this grant is 3 years. We're making a lump sum application, but we've spread the cost of the labor, the $5,000 for labor over the 3-year period. So what we're essentially saying, and by the way, I didn't mention, this grant is supposed to be a 50-50 grant unless you are in a social vulnerability index area, in which case it's a 75-25 grant. And we fit the criteria for the social vulnerability index. So our grant portion, our match portion of this grant would be 25%. So the $5,000 that we would spend in labor to run the chipper is exactly the 25% that would be our contribution to this grant in terms of matching. And so the real cost to the town is $5,000 divided by 3 years, roughly $1,500 a year that we're going to be coming out of pocket for. So the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee have voted to recommend this to the Board of Trustees. As I said, this has been a collaborative effort. John Bell was very gracious in his time and devotion to getting this done and sort of leading the effort with Becky and Mayor Dixon over the last couple of weeks. And the grant application that you have in front of you is a result of the combined effort of the team led by John. So thanks, John, for all of your hard work on this. And if I've missed anything, John, please chime in, or if I've misstated anything.
I just want to clarify the ask for the board. And that is, what we're asking you to approve is the $5,000 labor that would be, come from Public Works. I also want to give you a thought experiment and think of your favorite natural disaster. I don't know if it's a locust plague, hailstorm, hurricane, whatever. But the one that can be started by man and the one that can be stopped by man is fire. And so that's why I think, there's so much effort towards fire mitigation. It's something that we can actually affect. So as we ask you to, consider this $5,000 spend, I want you to consider that thought as well.
Any trustees, questions, comments? And the due date, John, is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's essential in saving our town. This mitigation effort is kind of a big deal, right? So this $5,000, I believe it, again, it's for Public Works, so many hours within the 3 years that they would be committing to assisting in the chipper operation,
Yes.
correct?
So
Yeah.
Calculation, the nitty gritty is 64 hours
Mhm. For 3
per
years.
year, each
Or
of
per
3
year,
years. Yes.
yep.
So that's that's the approximate.
I mean, I would thank you guys for your effort in this. I'm 100% on board for it personally, so.
I will note, John, that there's a couple typos that we still need
Yes,
to
and
fix.
And I'll be happy to fix those. I've got
Yeah.
to fix a couple since you saw it last.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah, there's just like
Yeah.
2 typos, I think.
Well, one of the things that the chainsaws have to be kept
would-
at town. Okay, we can't get
Yeah,
something to purchase chainsaws and hand them out to the general public.
Yeah.
If we're getting a grant to purchase them, we have to keep them.
I
in
believe
town, and then we
the
can check
the
them out.
Sawyers, the 3
We can-
Sawyers
hey,
or so. that-
Nick, then we can check them out to people who have the certificates.
Did you
And I
say
have
that
made that modification.
they would be kept in town?
We'd have to keep them probably down at Public Works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are trained sawyers?
People who have been trained to operate chainsaws.
Okay.
And that's a part of the training that's in this.
Yep.
Yeah. And they would be responsible for maintaining as it was in this.
So I've made that modification as well. So the
Okay.
Public Works would be, I think our trained sawyers would have the knowledge to know what the minor stuff that needs to be done, but the $3,800 for maintenance would include chainsaws, as you know. So it would be, the public works would have responsibility for preventative maintenance on those as well.
I like it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, you know. And again, we're gonna need all the volunteers we can get for this is maybe at a freight train, and this is the beginning of you know, mitigating all this fuel we have in this town. which is
And
considerable.
again, I'm looking at it from, if there is a bump in, you know, the $5,000, it, we're probably, I'll look at it from the perspective of we're eating into our general fund balance because we don't really know really where we're falling for sure, because we don't have the revenue piece. Any other questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, I would like to make the motion to approve this grant. With the corrections that will be made for some couple of little typos, but
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the going after the grant for Fire Mitigation Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, John, and thank you, David. And thank you, Fire Mitigation Committee. Okay, that moves us into our correspondence. Do we have any correspondence to bring up?
I do not.
Okay. And then we'll go into our reports. And I think I'd like to start with the marshal.
Good evening. I would like to start off by just letting you know that in my 26-year law enforcement career, 18 of those were spent in schools. So the pool is a big deal for me because, as they say, idle hands. If we get those kids engaged and they're tired at the end of the night because they were swimming in the pool all day, the less they're going to go out and do stupid things, and it makes my job easier. Thank you. The child abuse resolution, the child abuse month is also near and dear to my heart because I've seen some ugly things. And so thank you for supporting that. Part of my report tonight is show and tell. With the new body cams, which are active. And we've been using them since March 17th. One of the value finds that I'm finding with these that I did not anticipate was the training aspect of the body camera. And I'll just let you guys pass this down. This is the view of the body camera. It's not recording currently, it just is showing what I see when the camera is on. So the value add is in training. So when we go out and have a call and we come back and we get to reflect on what happened and we can see exactly what we did. It's been invaluable for training for Will. We can say, hey, maybe we shouldn't have been standing here. Maybe we should have been standing over here. Was it dangerous to be here or there? How we talked to this person or how we had this interaction could have been different by. So it's been valuable. So as you can see, it catches quite a wide view. You guys in the audience are all more than welcome to pass my phone around and look at it. But again, it's going to be great. It's a little hard to get used to turning them on and off. Sometimes I let that sucker run for a while one time. And I'm like, oh man, it's still been recording everything for like 2 hours. Okay. So a little bit of getting used to, but it's good. Some other things that were not necessarily negative, but more on the negative side. It's a little, when we take a case, it's time intense anyway, because we have to go back, write a report, make filings with the court, this, that, and the other thing. These are the things that the state has put on us as those we got to do it and they're not funded mandates. The we have to, when we have a contact with somebody, if we're investigating a crime, we have to record that. We have to report that to the state. Thank you so much. So what it takes to have a contact with somebody now, where it was maybe 20, 30 minutes of after paperwork is turned into probably 45 minutes to an hour. So that's been one of the negatives that I've seen, but the positives far outweigh the negative. So a little bit of time is what it takes. It is what it is. With my report, we had 33 calls for service. I won't go through all of them, but you can see what they are. We had 4 agencies that assisted us on call outs. We assisted other agencies 3 times with calls. We hadn't worked any details. Deputy Starks is still in the shadow phase. At this point, we're just waiting for him and I on comfort level to be a little bit to get more together. He's still young. And again, our call volume is not what he would get in El Paso or CSPD or something like that. So it's just taking a little longer because we go out on a call and we realize, well, we haven't done this many times, things like that. So we're just waiting for that call volume to get to a point where he feels comfortable going out and doing things on his own, and me too. The patrol car is at the shop getting outfitted. As I said, it's going to be about a month or 2 before that's done. The patrol car is getting a different kind of striping on it. So you've seen our stripes on the marshal's car. It's going to change to a green theme, and it's going to fade from green to black, and it's going to have a bunch of trees, and it's going to say Green Mountain Falls Marshal. It's going to have the badge, but it's all going to be green. It's reflective. It's going to be, they look pretty good. So the Tahoe, or I'm sorry, the Ram goes in tomorrow to get its stripes, and we should have that back before the end of the week. One other thing that I didn't put on the report that happened this week was I did apply for a grant for training. It's not a lot of money. It's $350 that we'll get from the Colorado Police Officer Standards and Training Board if it gets approved. And that'll sign myself and the other officers up for a program that's called Police One Academy. So when we have to do at a minimum 24 hours of training every year to keep our certification, which includes firearms, defensive tactics, and driving, along with a whole bunch of other different things that we can choose to do. So half of that training, half of that 24 hours has to be in those 3 focus areas. So this Police One Academy gets us all of that training. We've been utilizing it for years. We didn't have to apply for grants for it before. The state gave it to us for 5 years for free. The focus for these grants are smaller agencies with under 10 employees in them. So we fit well in that demographic, and $350 is what it is for what my budget is. It's a pretty good chunk of change. So, and it keeps us certified. So other than that, I'm done. Any questions?
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Marshall.
Yep. Have a good evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
then we'll go down the line with trustees report now, and then we'll finish up with the clerk's reports.
I don't have a report. Thank you.
Just want to thank Don and, PRT. Good job, PRT, Don. John, thank you very much. That was awesome. Looking forward to this. Working closer with you guys here pretty soon. It was a very good job you did there as well. So thank you to Fire Mitigation and John. So that's it.
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, what do I want to report? It's been a heck of a past 10 days. Becky has been basically directing Bo and I remotely, directing/coaching. We've had some time sensitive items. We still got, well, with the fire mitigation, now we got 2, right? 2 left. So we still have a couple time sensitive items left. You just can't imagine the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. I did mention in my newsletter, there is a Senate bill going on. I think CML actually opposed. It has to do with land use code. Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments also has taken a opposed position. However, this one I'm not testifying on because from what I can tell that with language that's currently in the bill, and I granted there's supposedly a truckload of amendments out there. Green Mountain Falls would not be affected. I think we'd be fall under the exception with the wildland urban interface fire zone we're in. We are currently down to one public works person. Someone was doing a recreational activity and broke their leg. So we do have possibly a temporary person coming in Monday. I'm not 100% for sure on that, but I think we've got the arrangements made to bring someone in. We got a lot of code updates that we need to get back on and doing. Becky may be popping in later this week. But I'm really not expecting her back full time and more kind of what I call in the game until about Monday. So yeah, like I say, it's been kind of a wild ride this week, especially when you come in on a Monday and find out someone's broken their leg and you spend the morning calling around to Teller County and El Paso County. And, you know, because if we would have gotten a big snow, you know, it would have been a little bit of a challenge for us. And interesting to note that El Paso County is down 40 public works people. Teller County is down 17. And so if you're inclined to need a job, I'm sure they'd probably want to, you know, I'm sure they'd probably be more than happy to probably try to work with you. Let's see, anything else? Nancy's, you know, my wife's giving me the stop signal. So, okay, Bo, do you have anything to report?
The budget was really all I had tonight. You highlighted the past, you know, couple weeks pretty well.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Did I miss anything? Are there any last minute items? I got the gavel in hand.
I
Shelley?
would like to discuss at the next meeting or before work sessions. They've
Okay,
gone by the wayside and we need them.
yeah, we probably could have used one tonight, and
Yes.
if Becky would have been here, I think we would have had
Mhm.
one. Yeah,
Thank you.
but, okay. Other items? And Shelley, if you'd like to, I know you had a question early on, so if you'd like. Okay. Gone. It's 8:29. We are adjourned.
Another one down. Oh, yeah.
Solution.